Hi, and welcome to the dinner agenda. This is Bo.
And this is CLo.
Hello, CLo. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just touched my face and I'm like, I have a pimple under my nose
Oh,
and it hurts. I don't think it's fair that you get wrinkles and pimples at
I
the same
agree.
time.
Do you?
You know what I'm
I
saying?
do actually. It's funny, CLo. I still get breakouts every once in a while. Like not massive breakouts, but like one here, and like I don't know if you can see. Like there's one that's going away here. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
whatever.
It
It's
ain't
not fair.
fair.
I agree with you. It's
I
not
should
fair.
have I should have went and gotten a pimple patch from my kids. They have a pack up there.
What is a
Put a
pimple?
pimple.
What's a pimple patch?
How can you not know what a pimple patch
I don't know
is?
what a pimple patch is. What is this pimple patch?
Clearly, there are no teenagers in your house.
No, there aren't.
It's like a package of little tiny circle
Okay.
bandagey type things that you put on. Some of them are like skin color or you can get transparent and you put it over the pimple. And I think the idea is that you wear it overnight and by the next morning it will have pulled all the pimply stuff out.
Stop. Does it honestly work, CeeLo?
Yes, because I have seen them used
Oh my God. Oh,
and they're shown to me
oh,
from my children to say,
oh,
"Look what it got."
no, no.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, but it does work. Okay,
So,
what
yeah,
is
they
this
work.
brand? I want to get it. What is this brand or what is this?
I think, there was some rando brand that I bought at one point. It's perfect stocking stuffer for teenagers, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, but then the one I seem to be buying more of lately is called Mighty Patch.
Mighty Patch?
Mighty.
Mighty Patch.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah.
making note of
And
this.
you can just get them on Amazon.
Really? Oh my God, I have to make note of this.
Yes.
Where's my pen? Oh, whatever. Here, I'll type it in here.
I'll text it to you
Yeah, yeah,
afterwards. I'll
that's
send you the
crazy.
actual Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nuts. Okay, well, I had
Right?
no idea that that
You're
existed.
welcome.
I was still kind of, old fashioned, like, do you touch it? Do you
Yeah.
not touch it? Let it go, let it, I don't know.
No, never touch it. Don't touch your face. I'm guilty of touching my face
I
all the
know.
time.
I'm always like, you know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
yeah, whatever.
Totes, totes.
So let me tell you, I went to see a psychic show on Saturday with a few friends.
Oh, oh. Did you get a reading?
No,
Oh,
I did not.
but it was fun?
No.
Where was it?
I know what's okay. So it was in Vaughan,
Okay.
Richmond Hill, Vaughan area or whatever. And so here's the deal. This psychic, I'm not going to name the person because I don't want to, what I mean? This is just my own,
You want a name and shame?
right. It's my own view, my own, experience. Right. But so this particular psychic, she does shows across North America,
Yeah,
in venues. This happened to be at the one of the playhouses, that they have in Vaughan.
yeah.
And anyways, so she happens to be a friend of a mutual friend.
Okay.
Okay. So like I have a friend who is friends with the person who is good friends with the psychic, if that makes any sense.
Got
Okay.
it.
So
That's like a whole 6 degrees of separation
it
situation
is, it
there.
is. So they all kind of said, "Oh, we'll come and support. We'll come out to the show, blah blah blah." So I got invited to join, and I was like, "Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds great." Um,
Yeah.
there were some things, CeeLo, that were like, yeah, she had them bang on, but then there were other things where I was like, I think you're grasping at straws here, lady. You know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, so does anybody have a Dan, a John, a Joe? I mean, like, come on, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, so it got to a point, and then she also dragged out the conversation that she was having with whatever person she was reading at that moment, meaning that, like, she would just go on and repeat the same things and
How
repeat the
many
same things.
people were, like, in the room?
A lot. It was like like as if you would be seeing a play. There were a lot.
So, like, 300
Oh,
people, and she's saying or 200, like,
yeah, maybe
something
200, something like that. Yeah,
quantity?
yeah. Mhm.
And she's on a stage at the front saying, "Does
Yeah.
anyone have a Dan, a John, a"
Well, I mean, I'm exaggerating, like,
Okay.
she does
I'm like,
well, kind of exaggerating, but kind of not, like, so it in a nutshell, I mean, there were maybe 1 or 2 people that she read where there were moments where I said, "Oh, shit, wow, that's like
yeah.
wow." The rest of the time, it was just I found it very generic. I found when she was kind of
Mm.
asking somebody in the audience for who has this, who has that, and then somebody would put up their hand or whatever, and then she would start it just felt a bit generic. So it kind of made me say, not sure if I'm fully bought into this. And then because she would drag the conversation out so long, I ended up getting really bored. And I know that sounds really awful, but at one point I was sitting beside a friend of mine, and without even realizing, I just turned to her and I said, "You know, look how many people don't have curly hair. Most of the people in this audience have straight hair, and you and I are sitting here with, like, curly wavy hair." And
Really
she's
here.
looking at me and she's like, "Yeah, you're ready to go, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, yes I am." Okay. So, yeah, it was I don't know. Do you believe in this shit, CeeLo? Like, do you believe in it?
I no, but I'm curious. I don't. Like,
Okay.
I would be, take a little bit of work because 100 years ago, I went to a psychic thing. I think it was like a psychic fair or a psychic
No, no.
like, there was a whole bunch of
Didn't I
psychic
bring do you
fair.
remember that guy that I brought that I had that crush on, who I met at the psychic fair? He was a psychic. I don't wanna say his name because I think he's still active, and we had it at our mutual friend's house, and he came over, and he was saying to you something about, "You're gonna find this man, love of your life."
Yes. I
And we knew right then and there
I
that he wasn't real, it wasn't true because there's no way that you wanted a man. Mhm.
mm, I was thinking, like, I went to a show, a psychic fair and show
Oh, okay.
with an ex-girlfriend, Carla,
Oh, yeah, Carla, I remember Carla. Yeah, I
right?
remember Carla. Yeah,
A
yeah.
million years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I sat down and they did a reading, like a psychic did a reading for both of us. And when it was my turn, the psychic said something about, yes, I'm going to find and marry a man and live on a farm or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. That must be not me. That must be the person standing in line behind me.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to
yeah.
it, but I think it's all cool and
It's fun.
stuff. Like,
It's fun.
you know,
Do you
yeah.
believe I know we're getting into a heavier conversation, a heavier topic at the moment, but do you believe there's an afterlife, CeeLo? Like, do you believe when you die that something goes on in some way, shape, or form, or do you think you're just warm food and that's it?
I I don't know. I think I would be hard pressed to I love the idea of something,
Mhm.
right? When I see a cardinal outside, I think of my mom, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, "Oh, there's mom visiting me." Like, I love thinking about that. It brings me happiness. But, like, if hard pressed, if I was being tortured into what I really believe, I would
Mhm.
probably be like, "No, once you're done, you're done."
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Hmm. Okay, I don't think I have that same view. That's interesting. Okay.
Well,
Well,
you can't be my friend anymore then.
you're funny. But what I will
Ah.
say is whoever dies first, let's try to come back and tell it and find some way
Oh,
of
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so we'll have to think of what the thing is
yeah,
and set that out now
yeah, yeah,
so that well, we probably won't remember by the time we're seniors anyway, but
yeah, maybe not. Sorry, Penny's
yeah.
trying to make
But
a
we'll have to think of our thing. It'll be like, if you see a blue jay, that's me,
yeah. Well, I think we're
okay?
gonna have to make it a little bit more specific than a bird,
I know,
you know what I
I
mean?
know. Yeah,
Because,
okay.
my cat is
Yeah.
probably gonna be coming into view in a second. She's,
Oh my god, what a shocker.
I know, I know. Hey,
I think
sweetheart.
we, posted that on the Instagram, your cat's
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah. She's famous for giving you her butt.
Typical blues.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So, how was your evening or how was your week been or what's going on with you?
Well, I had a couple of quick things to chat about.
Mhm.
One is there was an election in the US. I don't know
Oh,
if
shit,
do you
yeah.
remember? Do you remember that?
No.
Did you stay up and watch it?
Yes. I was very tired
Like,
the next day.
oh my god, how
Yeah.
late did you stay up?
I don't even know. I just know that I stayed up long enough to
Be tired for the next day.
be tired for the next day, but to also realize that he had won. Like, I don't think it
Yeah,
had been fully announced, but it's like you knew at that point that it was done, and I was just like, "Okay, time to go to bed." But I have to say,
yeah,
I did have to go to work the next day, and of course, this was the biggest topic of conversation, because,
yeah,
Canada does get affected by what happens in the States.
of
We're
course,
just too close. We're a sister country, and it's just, and I do actually have some employees that are based in the States as well. So they were
in the
caught up in
US.
it, quite a bit. So it was a big topic of conversation the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
would like to send our condolences out to all of our listeners in the US of A.
well, hold on though, CeeLo. I mean, you say you want to send the condolences, but they voted him in again. And it's not like it was
Yeah,
so
but
neck and neck. It's like it was apparent that,
okay, maybe it wasn't neck and neck, but, like, 40,000,000 plus people on one
mm,
side and 40,000,000 plus or whatever it ended up being on the other side. So it's still
mhm,
pretty
mhm,
divided if you think about it.
mhm,
Maybe it wasn't, split by 10,000 votes by any stretch, I get
mhm,
that. The
mhm.
fact that he won popular vote too, I'm like, "Oh my god." Like, I'm scared for some of the stuff that's
Me too.
gonna happen in the next 4 years, and the
Honestly, me
whole
too.
deporting people and oh
Yeah.
my god.
And CeeLo, it's like, so these are the things
Mhm.
that concern me with all of it. Um, Trump is notorious for having the conspiracy theorists on side, right? And
Yeah,
I was
total.
seeing a bunch of not mainstream media posts about QAnon and how Trump is really going to save the world and set things right. And some of the things that they were saying were very concerning. Like
Yeah.
people are starting to go off the deep end, that are into that. That concerns me. And then women, especially, you know,
Yeah, total.
yeah, because I mean, we know what he's done about the abortion stuff, and I get that if you're
Yep.
pro-life, and I can understand that stance, but I can also understand the need to make a decision, and a woman to have the right to make her own decision. And you already see that it's going back to what it was like in the 1930s, where women are dying because they're seeking
Yeah.
illegal abortions.
Mhm.
I get concerned about that. There was a commercial. I don't know if you saw it, but it was just before the elections came out, and it was a commercial supporting Trump, and it was three older women who were sitting in a diner, and one of them says something along the lines of, "I've never voted for Trump in my life, but I'm going to vote for him now." The other lady was like, I agree with you. Things are just, too crazy. But what I do know is he will keep us safe. And I'm just like listening to this and I'm like, ladies,
Safe from what?
I don't know. He's going to have to protect all the ladies. I don't know. After he grabs them by the crotch, I have no fucking idea. And the guy's a convicted felon. Like,
I know, I know.
I just CeeLo,
I
I don't understand, I
That's
don't
why I
understand.
said condolences to the US listeners, like, I don't get it.
I don't understand either, I really honestly don't. I mean, oh, well, it is what
It's
it is.
it's scary to me. I was thinking did you watch the show The Handmaid's Tale? Well, obviously,
Oh,
you probably read the book in school, right? But
yeah, yeah,
do
no,
you watch
no.
the show?
Yes, I did, yes, I did. I know,
That's what like, we're gonna have people fleeing the US to come to Canada,
I
running over
know.
the border.
I know. And funny that you mentioned that. I have a male coworker who, we get along really well. We chat a lot about like personal stuff and whatever, and so we kind of know where each other's views are, right, on certain things. And he that night of the election, once everybody kind of knew that Trump had won, he sent me a picture like on text, and it was just a picture of the Handmaid's Tale women in their outfit.
See?
He said nothing
Mhm.
else other than just sending that picture, and I'm just like, he's right. Like, we're all
It's
thinking it.
scary.
He's right, you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary,
I
but
know.
the fact that he has so much control too, right? Like the Senate, everything.
Mhm.
He got it all.
He did.
My stepdad
Did he send
took a picture
articles?
of an article and underlined it and sent it. No, and he was like, "Well, they wanted a dictator,
Yeah, they've got
right?
one
And
now.
that's what they got, and that's what they've got. He's got
Yeah,
control of everything."
yeah.
So,
So, we'll have to see how this plays out.
anyways,
Mhm.
on a more chill topic,
Yeah.
um, my sister
Mhm.
called me on the phone,
Mhm.
and she said, "I just wanna let you know that Joe Richards or
Kyle Richards?
Kyle Richards' husband,
Mhm.
Joe Richards,
No.
has a sh"
His name is
what's her husband's name?
oh, I'll get it for you. It's not Joe, but, uh,
Okay,
Kyle
well,
Rich
Kyle Richards'
yeah.
husband, Mr.
Mhm.
Richards, we'll go with
Mr.
that because
Mr.
that's gotta be
Richards.
correct. He has a show called Buying Beverly Hills.
Mauricio. His name is Mauricio. B
Mauricio?
Buying Ba I've
Mm.
heard of that. I haven't watched it yet,
Yeah.
though. Does she watch it?
Yes,
And?
I
Would she say it's
believe
good?
because 'cause we've chatted before and she watches, a few of those Buying New York, Buying
Yeah, they're fun.
'cause they're all these, like, fun luxury homes, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And a little bit of reality show drama,
mhm.
and, another one she really likes is called Below Deck, but yeah, she called to let me know that her husband is got that show,
Yeah.
and she also said that cult is short for culture,
Sh
'cause, from
Cult
our
is
cult
short for
show,
culture. Yeah,
for
okay, I can see
culture.
that. Yeah.
Now, I was like, "Oh my god, well, thanks for pointing that out. I'd never thought about that before." However,
Mhm,
now that I've Googled it,
mhm,
cult and culture are 2 different words. Cult is generally associated with things that are considered taboo or wrong.
mhm.
It is generally used instead of occult, the
Oh,
original word.
mhm.
So, I don't think that the 2 I mean, obviously, they're connected, but I don't think cult is short for culture, so
So, what
I'm
you're
gonna have to
doing
prove my sister wrong.
yeah, you're calling your sister out on our podcast that will be out in the
Yes,
universe forever and ever,
yes.
and I know which sister you're talking about, so she's coming after you, CeeLo.
She's totally
But
gonna come after me.
I know, but funny that you mentioned about the feedback on the cults because my aunt actually messaged me
Mhm,
and
mhm.
she had some good points. She's like, "You guys need to do a part 2 on cults because you didn't touch on the Amish, you didn't touch on Charles Manson, you didn't touch on" like, so she had a few other ones and I thought, "Ooh, those would be good too." So we could dive into those as well. So maybe we do a part 2. And I do
Are
think
the
we do.
Amish considered a cult, though?
Well, I mean, by definition, yes. The definitions that we read, right? Because they isolate themselves. There is one main prophet that gets elected, right?
No,
Um,
they're a Christian church.
yeah,
They're not
no,
a
I
cult.
I know, but the thing is, they isolate themselves. They don't socialize with anybody outside of their community. They have erratic beliefs about certain things. Um, so we'll have to debate
Well,
it.
again, it's that fine line again,
Okay. Well,
that religious fine line. But
let's
yeah.
do a cults
Well,
part
okay,
2. And what
part
we'll
2.
do
Okay.
is I'm going to try to find somebody who uh, might be a Mennonite. I don't think I can get somebody
Well,
who's
I think
Amish.
Amish and Mennonite are 2 different things,
That's
but
right. I was
yeah, we're gonna have to do our research on this
We
one.
will, but I don't think we could actually get somebody who was Amish to come on because I think that they've got, like, you can't take
Mm.
pictures of them, they can't, but Mennonite possibly,
They don't
right?
use electricity, dude, and there's different orders of
Yes,
Mennonites. Some of them
yes,
are old order where
and
they
some of them
don't
are
have any
modern.
electricity,
Yeah, yeah,
and some of them drive cars, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
That's what I'm saying. There's a church up the street actually that's a Mennonite church, and I think it's a more modern one, so I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
see, I'll see. I'll post it
totes.
in my community and see if there's any interest, so we'll see.
I also wanted to let you know that I started watching Under the Banner of Heaven
What do you
on Disney.
think?
It's good so
Oh,
far.
okay.
I felt like I think I'm partway through the 2nd episode. I
Mhm.
managed to get through 1.5 episodes this weekend.
Yeah.
Partway through the 2nd episode, and it's definitely curious. Like,
Mhm.
I like the way that they've laid it out where it's like, "Oh, this is what's happening,"
Yeah,
"Oh, this
yeah.
isn't what's happening." and then it's kinda got all those little drops in there, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's been fun,
I
so
think I had said that it was Daniel Radcliffe that was in it, but it's not, it's Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield was is the
yes,
guy, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I got them mixed up, but, he does
that's
a great
okay.
job, CeeLo. He does a really
Yeah,
great job, uh, being that character.
yes,
And just wait until you see Wyatt Russell as the show progresses. He does
yeah,
a phenomenal job too. He really gets you believing that he's like this guy. You know what I mean? He does a
yeah?
great job. He does a
Okay.
great flipping job. Yeah, it's a good show.
Okay,
Good show.
well, I'm looking forward to that.
Good, good. I'm glad you liked it.
Um, and then I guess before we jump into our agenda, I just wanted to do a little, um if you're enjoying the show, all of our dinner guests, please make sure that you like and follow us on whatever pod, um, you're using. So whether that's Apple or Spotify, those seem to be the 2 most, popular ones, Podbean, etcetera. Please make sure you like and follow. Also, drop us a comment. You can drop us a comment
Yeah.
on, any platform, including, Instagram. You have something you want us to cover, just put it out there, and you know us, we will cover it for you.
Oh, yes, we will.
So, yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Alright. So, what are we gonna chat about on our agenda today?
So today we are going to be talking about some people's issues that they have. So kind of like a Dear Bo and CLo, but they're not directing the Dear Bo and CLo, like the questions directly to us. They are questions that were posed out there that we're going to ask each other, and then we're going to
Yes.
get our own opinions on whether or not we think this person is an asshole or
Yes.
wrong,
We're gonna
or
call it out.
and see. We're just going to debate it. We're going to have a convo.
We're gonna have a combo on it.
Yeah,
I like that. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, man. I
you're
was
old
thinking
now.
something just now. Ah, I know. If I don't write it down, I'm telling you,
I
it's
know.
bad news.
I know. I
Bad
know.
news.
Listen, I was
Oh,
out.
what was I
Oh, yeah.
know when
Yeah.
you said "Dear Bo and CeeLo," what
Yeah.
was the column? Dear
Oh, I don't wanna say.
oh,
Yeah. Well, because, it's from various places, but I also don't want anybody to be called out necessarily, right?
oh,
So
not like the ones we're gonna cover, but
oh,
back
oh,
in the day,
sorry.
like in the
Oh, back in the
'70s,
day.
"Dear
Dear
Abby,
Abby.
dear Abby."
Dear
There you
Abby.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it
We're
was
gonna
Dear
do a
Abby.
Dear Abby version of Dear Bo and CeeLo.
Who's Abby?
I don't know who was Abby. I'm gonna investigate it.
Yeah, you do that. Okay, Gil
Okay, so
and Oprah. Let's go.
Gail and Oprah. Do you have a good one to kick us off?
Let's see. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Okay, so it's a bizarre one. So let's go with this one. Okay, let
Alright.
me kind of share the story. This person says that their father had walked out on their mother when she was pregnant with him. Okay, the parents were married for 5 years at that point, but the father had been
Okay.
cheating quite a bit. So, his mom was trying to divorce him, went through hell because they picked up and moved and whatever. But when she, like, I think he was 16 months old when the father had left or the mother had walked out on the father or something like that. And this boy had never met the father. Right. So he was, it's similar. It kind of
Okay.
reminds me a bit of Dave's story, where
Okay.
his birth father was with his mom for 6 months after he was born. And then he just took off and Dave never met him
Yeah.
and didn't know him. And so it kind of looks like it's the same situation here. So when the mom was filing for divorce, the father didn't show up to court for the divorce. He didn't even ask for custody. He didn't pay child support. He went to jail 3 times for failure to pay child support and trying to avoid it. And what he would do is consistently quit his jobs and not declare new places of employment until he was actually
Okay.
caught. So it doesn't sound like he's too good of a stand-up guy, right? Um,
No.
so this person says that he still hasn't met him, but around a year ago, he moved back into the same hometown with his new family. And the new family consists of the woman that he had had the affair with. And they've
Yes.
subsequently had children of their own. He has a daughter that is 5 months younger than this boy, this teenager, I
Guy.
think he is. Um,
Yeah.
and about a year and a half younger with some other kids that they have as well. But he doesn't know them at all. He doesn't know these kids. So he goes to high school now that they're back in the same school, the same town. He goes to the same high school as these two other siblings that are half siblings of his now that he's met obviously through school. One of the kids, the daughter, who is the one that's 5 months younger than him, they're in the same class, and she was trying to manipulate partnering with him on special projects. And he had said to his teacher that he was not comfortable partnering with her. There was a lot
Okay.
of, um, like just negative feelings about everything.
Mhm.
And he had never even met his father. So he wasn't quite sure he wanted to, um, you know, be close with
Right.
this other half sister, or he just felt awkward and very, very uncomfortable. Anyway, so he
Right.
told the teacher, and the daughter found out and told her parents, and then his birth father uh, went to the principal and said, "This is not okay. If my daughter wants to get to know him through these special school projects, um, she should be allowed to do that. The teacher should not intervene and keep them separate." Um, he says, I so the principal actually called the mother, his birth mother, in to meet with the birth father to talk about this. And the birth mother said, "Sorry, I have to take a drink of water."
And spill it all down your front. I'm gonna take it really quick because I gotta finish this story.
All down my
Look
white
it, this
shirt.
is how you drink without spilling.
Oh my god. Okay, so anyways, the mother goes to meet with the father and says,
Mhm.
and the principal, and basically says, look at, they had asked for her to bring her son too. And she said, "I'm not bringing my son to this meeting because this would be the very first time that he'd meet his birth father. And that's not okay. That's not appropriate. If my
Right.
son is not comfortable, and there's like obviously some trauma there that is, preventing my son from wanting to, interact with this girl, why would we force
Right.
it? There's
Yeah.
obviously an issue there." Anyways, so the daughter and son are super pissed off. The father's really pissed off. The daughter's going around the school bad mouthing him now. And he wants to know if he's been an asshole for pushing to not have a partnership with this girl in school. What are your thoughts?
Wow. Um, I think that, like, if this was happening, okay, so I think that there's opportunity here to teach the boy asking the question.
Mhm.
Like, sometimes it's not gonna be easy. Sometimes it's really gonna suck, and sometimes you're gonna have to, put your big girl panties on and figure out a plan of action, right? Because 'Cause they're in this town, there's 4 years of high school, this chick ain't going away. Your deadbeat dad who started a new family ain't going away. And so I would be inclined to give him guidance to say, "Okay, you don't wanna do a school project, but can you guys meet up at Starbucks or something?" Right? And have a chat and have him explain what he's feeling. And then she has an opportunity to say, "Hey, I've always wanted a brother," like whatever is going through her mind, but have a chat about it, not with the pressure of working on a school project, and just see where that lands. And maybe the girl would have a little bit more empathy for the position that he's in,
Mhm.
and he would understand hopefully where she's coming from. Maybe she's perfectly innocent in all of this and just really wants to get to know her brother. Like, you don't know if she's got bad intentions or not, right?
Mhm.
So that's the advice that I would give him.
So,
The fact that the principal or whatever brought in both parents is a little, I don't know, maybe it's good, I don't know.
okay, so I differ a little bit. Like I do agree with what you're saying about if this girl so desperately wants to have a relationship with him, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, I agree with you that it should be done outside of school. It should be
Yeah.
done, let me meet or let me, whatever it might be. But he does have the right to say, "No, I'm not interested," right? Like, he does have the right to say that, "I do not want
Absolutely.
to explore." And if he says that, which he did, right? Then he's
Yeah.
actually saying, "I don't want this." So I don't think he should be forced. And I get what you're saying about put on your big boy pants and all that other stuff. However, I would challenge that and I would say, if this is a situation about I'm just not getting along with somebody in my class and I'm going to have to do a special project and I really don't want to, that is where
Right.
I would say put your big boy pants on, because you're
Yeah.
going to have to deal with people you don't like for the rest of your fucking life. But in
Yes.
this
Total.
particular situation, there is a childhood trauma there. There is an intimate family dysfunction that's there, that's being forced on him, which I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think it
100%.
should be forced. Like, it's not the school's responsibility to force a relationship. So this father coming to the principal to say, "You should force my son to partner with my daughter and do this
No,
project." Yeah, I'm not into that. I don't
I
think.
agree.
Yeah.
And I wanna put it out there, right? Like, I
Mhm,
would not, I he has the decision in this
mhm.
situation, right? Like, he can decide, and I
Yeah.
would support whichever he decided as his parent, right?
Mhm.
I think what I was going for is I feel like he could be holding all that resentment against a whole
Yeah,
pool of people,
of
not
course.
just his dad. And so I think I would encourage him to see maybe the girl, his half sister's perspective and view on it and say maybe it's worth having a chat with her, not with your birth father,
Mhm,
not with any of that. And I'm not forcing you to do a school project, but
mhm.
I think, especially in that height, once you get into teenage years, it's important to think about things more broadly instead of that, single view, to
Mhm,
have conversations, even though they may be tough, that kind of
mhm,
thing. That's
mhm.
what I was thinking.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, screw it. Don't do the school project with her.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I first of all, I don't think the kid's an asshole. He's a teenager, obviously, if he's in high school.
Oh, yeah.
So, I
He's
mean, he's
struggling.
got a lot of emotions that are hard to navigate. I don't think he's an asshole at all. I don't. I don't. I think that the father trying to force it when he's never met the kid is the
Yeah.
asshole.
Is total. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
he was an asshole before that even happened.
100%, 100%.
Okay.
Okay, what
Okay.
you
I
got?
got one for you.
Okay, tell
I'm
me.
going to read this. I'm going to read this one out. You ready?
Okay,
So I, female, and my husband, John, have been married for 7 years and married for two. Or, sorry, been together 7 years and married for two.
okay.
John works out of town a lot, usually for 2 to 3 months at a time. A few months ago, John asked to open the relationship since he's sexually unsatisfied while he's out of town.
Oh.
We laid down some ground rules, and eventually he got a
Mm.
girlfriend who lives in one of the cities where he frequently has to go for work. And sometimes I have hookups or one night stands. Although I'm not really sure what the difference between hookups and one night stands are, but we'll
Yeah,
save that for another day. Okay.
okay. Mhm.
Recently, his sister called me crying and asked, how could I cheat on John? I just kind of laughed and asked if she was serious. And she said that she'd heard it from a friend that I was at the club with another man. She told me I had 1 week to tell my husband or she would. And she hung up on me.
If she only knew.
John John was out of town that week and
Yeah.
didn't and so I didn't have much time to talk to him, but when he came back, he was exhausted and didn't want to talk. Well, John's a bit of an ass at this point, but we digress.
Mhm.
The next day, I woke up with tons of texts and missed calls, mostly from my sister-in-law and some mutual friends calling me a cheating slut and saying I didn't
Oh.
deserve John. I woke him up to show him the text and said, aren't you basically cheating? They're right. You're sleeping around, and left for the day. So, what should she say to her sister in law, Lizzie? Does she let her know about their open relationship? Does she confess to just being in cheating on her husband or her?
Hmm.
What should she do?
I think okay, so, without knowing them, My vote would be that she tell the sister-in-law that they're in an open relationship, and the reason why I say that is because it does not sound like the husband's coming, clean, right? It seems like he's not communicating.
He's
What? What do you wanna say?
he's totally leaving her out to
Yeah,
dry.
agreed. So, because of that, like, he was the one who asked for it in the beginning.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's his family that's attacking his wife. He should
mhm,
be, coming up for the defense of his wife, and, if he does not want to say what the situation is, he needs to find a different way of letting them know that it's not her. You know what I mean? That it's something that they're both aware of or whatever. I think she should say it. I don't think that it's going to change the attacks that the sister-in-law or the other his side of the family are going to have on her. And I say that because if this guy's that much of a weasel to not stand up and say, wait a second, my wife is not a slut. This is an open arrangement, or this is the arrangement that we both have. I do it
yeah,
too. Back off of her. If he doesn't have the common courtesy and decency to do that, then that tells
yeah,
me that he's going to let that narrative that his family has about her continue. So I think she should say it. If it's going to make her feel better, she should say it. But on the flip side, I'm thinking this is not an honest relationship. So she should also
mhm.
assess whether or not this is where she should be.
Right? I
Mhm.
think the first conversation she needs to have is with her husband, who responds to those texts saying, "Well, aren't you basically cheating?
Mhm.
They're right that you're sleeping around."
Yeah.
And, like, "Hello, like, you're supposed to have my back in all of this. This was your idea to begin with.
Mhm.
Don't be an ass,
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
go talk to your sister." I wouldn't have the conversation, but I would make him have the conversation with his sister.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep, yep. Agreed.
Oh,
Okay, let
trouble.
me ask you
Okay,
something
what
then
one?
as a parent.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I've got another one here for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
If you like if you suspect that your child is doing drugs or doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right?
Mhm.
Some parents will go through their children's room and drawers and bags to see if they can find any validation,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I want to ask you what your thoughts are on that. And then I want to ask you if the parent does go through the kid's belongings and does not find any evidence of drugs or whatever,
Mhm.
do you think it's okay that that parent has, or do you feel that that parent has the right to go through their children's room and drawers and bags anytime they want, as often as they want, even if there's nothing suspicious going on? So it's a two-parter.
It's a loaded question.
It is a loaded
I
question.
I feel like it's so important, especially as they get into the teenage years, to have open dialogue,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And that the kids can bring something to me and not have fear of some kind of repercussion.
mhm,
Right? That they can ask questions, that they, they're this is their time for experimenting and doing things and making some bad decisions so that they can learn from it, right?
mhm,
I They both have phones,
mhm,
and at any point they know that those phones can be turned over and that I can look through what's going on those phones. So, that's one thing where it's like stated
mhm,
upfront, I'm paying for the phone. And therefore, I can now the times that we have actually taken them and looked at them is very rare, if at all, to be honest. But I think when it comes down to going through their rooms or going through their bag, I think that that would to me be almost like a last resort. Like, your job as a parent is to keep them safe and help them navigate life. And if you feel like going through their rooms is critical in order to do that, then you need to do that as a parent. But it would have to be like something would really have to be going on. I feel like I would have to be feeling like I was being lied to. I would need to see something going on with friendships that is like sketchy or something
Like
bad.
massive
I feel
change
like
in
marks
behavior or
would have
something?
to be low. Yeah,
Yeah.
like or I would have to be concerned about their health, physical or mental in some way
Mhm.
in order to go to that level of,
Mhm.
disrupting, because their room is their space, right? Their privacy. And so, yeah, I'd have to be pretty concerned in order to do that.
Okay.
Plus, I'd have to step over like mountain loads of clothes, clean and
Uh,
dirty, mixed up on the floor,
of course.
glasses, plates,
Of course.
candy wrappers. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm agreeing with you. I think that, it's important for, kids and teenagers, young adults to have privacy, to have a place to, you know, put things that they may not want to share just yet. Like, I'm not talking drugs. I'm just talking like, everybody is deserving, I think, of some privacy. I do agree with you that if there is concern, that is a different story. Like if there is genuine concern, and you're trying to help guide your child, and looking for answers, I get that you may have to resort to that, but I agree with you that it needs to be a good valid reason. I don't think that just because
Yeah.
you're a parent you have the right to, and you own the house and they're under your roof, you know what I mean, that you have the right to go through their things, because you do need to teach them that respect is a mutual thing. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
respect, there's honoring someone's privacy, it's acknowledging them as an individual. I find it a very controlling behavior
Yeah.
for a parent to
And
consistently
it's
go through.
scary though. It's so scary because you want to balance giving them some freedom to make some of those tough
Yeah.
or maybe bad decisions
Yeah.
within reason so that they can learn something. They learn something about themselves, they learn something about their friends. Like there's just so much
Mhm.
goodness that they get out of some of those bad decisions at this age that
Mhm.
I feel like it's tough to have a balance between giving them space
Mhm. Mhm.
somehow putting in guardrails or setting up controls.
Mhm.
I feel really lucky, knock on wood, and hopefully this continues, that
Mhm.
we do have good open conversations
Yeah.
with both kids. Like they're both teenagers, but 2 years apart.
Mhm.
And our family rule is that I don't care what you've done or what's going on, that you need to tell the truth about things,
Mhm.
and we'll have a conversation about it. And yeah, there may be repercussions if you've made a wrong call or you've done something, then there may be repercussions for it, right? That
Mhm.
your phone gets taken away, or you have a curfew, or you're not allowed out after school, or whatever that looks like. But so I think it's important to put those guardrails in there, but you don't want to stifle them too much, I
Mhm.
guess,
Mhm.
as goal.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, agreed. I agree with your
mhm.
viewpoint on that. I know some parents who don't agree with that, that think it's their right. As a parent, that the child's belongings are their belongings, and so
Yeah.
therefore they have the right to go through, whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's really going to hurt that child's sense of.
They're gonna be reluctant to have a conversation with you
Yeah,
if they feel like they're,
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
I don't know. But it is tough. High school is tough, man.
It is. Oh,
That's tough shit.
I hear you. I hear you. That's why I wanted to ask that question. Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
another one?
Okay, I have another one from Reddit. You ready?
Yeah. Tell me.
Okay, this one says, "I'm battling cancer.
Ooh.
I'm gay, but I have realized I love my best friend of 25 years, a man. I need to vent
Oh.
all my thoughts, and I'm looking for advice on whether to tell him or not."
Okay. Hold on. Let me try to understand this. So, she is a.
I don't know, I think
Oh,
it's no, it's a
he.
he.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
a he.
he.
He. Oh, sorry.
He's battling
I thought it
cancer,
was.
he's gay,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and he realized he's in love with his
Best
best friend
friend.
of 25 years.
Oh my god.
Do I tell him or not?
And he's dying of cancer.
Well, it doesn't say dying, it just says battling, but I
Okay.
figure
So it's
the big C is probably enough of a life changer, whether or not it's a terminal or it's
yeah,
this long battle, right?
it's probably putting his mortality in question, so he's kind of, like, thinking, "Do I just go
Life's
for
too
it?"
short,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Do you say anything? Oh, CeeLo, that's a tough one. I don't know because, I mean, it is his best friend gay too?
No. Or undetermined. I think there was, like, a whole long post
Yeah,
about it where,
yeah.
like, they've been close friends for 25 years or whatever, but
If his
undetermined, let's say.
Yeah, if his best friend well, I don't know. It's really gonna depend on the relationship, I'd say. I don't know. I'm at a loss with this one. I mean, if you had come to me and said, "Bo, I'm in love with you, like, in love with you, like, I wanna have a relationship with you," um, I would be
My
like
wife might be pissed at
yeah, no,
me.
I'm saying, like,
Just
obviously, if you no, I think Mel would be great. She'd be like, "Yeah, come on in, Bo." No, I'm kidding.
come on.
No, but, like, if you had said that to me but we have such a long history together,
Mhm,
and I wouldn't feel threatened by it in any way, and I would obviously have to explain, that I'm straight and I can't give that to you, but,
mhm.
I would do whatever we can to maintain that relationship. I don't think it's gonna be the same thing for that guy, if that's I don't know, CeeLo. I'm gonna say don't tell him because,
Oh,
I don't know, is that the wrong thing? What do you think? I don't know.
no
I'm stuck
no
on this one.
answer is the wrong answer, it's just different ideas on the same.
Yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna be leaning towards don't tell him, making the assumption that the best friend is straight. Because right? Because that's going I wouldn't wanna make things awkward, especially if this other person has cancer. They need support. They need their friends at the moment, and I wouldn't wanna have to see this person navigate additional drama while they're trying to fight this, so maybe now's not the time, and knowing that it could
Mm,
never come to anything, right? Because the other
yep.
person is straight and would not be able to give in that relationship the way that the other person would need it to be. So why put that strain and pressure? I don't know. That's kind of where I'm going. What are your thoughts?
I The only part of that that I kind of agree with is maybe now is not the right time, given
Okay.
everything that's
But you think
going
he
on.
should say something?
100%
Why?
he
Tell me.
should
Why?
say something because I feel like it's a truthful way to proceed in a relationship of any kind, right? That
Mhm.
I think that he deserves that for himself to be truthful and the other person, the friend,
Mhm.
the undetermined friend, um, deserves that as well. I think that if he doesn't and
Mhm.
he just continually maintains this as a friendship, even though he's in love with them and, pines for him over
Mm.
time, he's
Mm.
really limiting himself in terms of other relationships, right? Because
Mhm. That's a good point.
like
Yeah.
like let's figure it out. I'm in love with you. Oh, sorry, I'm straight. Okay, we're going to move on in a different way. Hopefully still maintain some friendship, but who knows? Maybe it's got to be cut off. But I think you just need to, like, figure that shit out, come out with it, and move on.
Okay. All right. I see your point on that. I don't know. I just don't know if that would be the right thing
Okay.
because I hear you, CeeLo. It's coming clean and being honest to yourself, and I get all of that. But you do know that by doing that, the relationship dynamic is going to drastically change and or end.
Yeah,
And so, you know, I don't know. I think it would depend on if this person really could not get over that other person on their own, then maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a
Okay.
tough one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got another tough one for you.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go.
Do you tell your friend that you caught their partner cheating or that you suspect them cheating? Or do you say nothing? I know. I know. Are you praying? You're
I
just like, you're like,
I'm
what's
like,
going on there?
mm,
Uh,
I'm like, I think I need to come out and just say 100% yes. I
Okay,
would
I'd
tell
say
them.
yeah, you would, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I would too.
And I'm thinking, like, it kind of depends, right? So, like, the closeness of the friendship. Obviously, the closeness that we have,
Yeah.
if I caught Dave doing the dirty,
Oh, you better tell me. I
I
kill
would
your
tell you.
feelings.
I would
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
tell you,
Yeah,
you
me too.
got I
Get
got
it.
you, right?
Yep.
Because my alliance
Same,
is with you, right?
same, same. Right back at you on
But
that one.
let's
Yep.
say, okay, so we're both on the same page there.
Mhm, mhm.
But what if this was more of a casual acquaintance
Then no.
and you were equal friends with both
Oh.
people in the relationship,
Oh, that's you just put a flippin' twist on that.
right? That's me. I'm twisty today. You gotta watch out.
Okay, so I would say if it was just an acquaintance where I didn't know any like
A
y
casual friend, let's say, not someone who you just say hi and bye to, right? But that you've hung out with, that you do stuff with, maybe, as couples or whatever, you have a card game every once in a blue moon but not like, a long-term friendship, something a bit more cash.
I'm gonna go with yes, but I think the delivery of it might be different. Meaning that if it was you and I had caught
Yes.
Mel, I'd go
Yes.
into such protective mode that I'd
Yeah.
probably kill her before I even said anything to you, and then I would say it to you. You know what I mean?
You would help me. You and I would work together to
To
bury the body. You
yeah,
know what I'm
correct. Okay,
saying?
exactly, okay? But that's because I'd be coming from a place of absolute protection for you,
Right.
right? An acquaintance, I probably wouldn't have that feeling of, "I've gotta protect this person and,
Right.
she's part of my tribe," kinda deal, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, in that situation, I would be inclined to probably say something, but I would probably say it in a very passive way, something like along the lines of, "Oh, I saw so and so at this place, and he was with this, young brown-haired
Slutty hoe bag.
yeah, he was with this prostitute. No, he was with this whatever, and, who do you have anybody in town, or does he have anybody in town?" Or, I would do it in such an innocent way, whereas,
It was just, like, put the seed of doubt
yeah,
with the yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Whereas with you, it's like, I know everybody that you know. I know everybody she knows. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah.
And I would probably actually just walk
Mhm.
right up to Mel and say, "Who the fuck is this? It's the
As I
I
would
need to
expect you to.
100%, 100%." But and I know you would do the same. But, yeah, so that's kind of where I would go with it. I think I would overall, I would say yes, I would say something. The delivery of how I say it would probably change depending on the relationship that I have with the person. What about you? I know that you would say it if for me, but what about an
Yeah,
acquaintance?
I like your idea of how you might frame it up, that you might
Yeah.
plant some seeds of doubt and then let the person take it away and figure
Y
something out.
yeah.
I like the idea of that. I don't fancy myself someone that's gonna meddle in other people's business, so I think my compass on that would be, do I feel like somebody is really getting hurt in this scenario? Like,
Mhm.
hey, it could be the question we had earlier, right? Where it's like an open relationship and she's like, "Yeah, that's his girlfriend Jane or whatever. Who cares?"
Yeah,
So you never
yeah,
know, but I feel I don't know. I would probably try and find a way to talk to her about it or
yeah,
talk to him about it,
yeah.
um, to try and get it out there and make sure things were good. But I'm not gonna be all like a ratty person about it, you
Got
know?
it. Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I have another one that's kind of funny.
Okay.
Okay, this is another one from Reddit. Um, Hi all. Not trying to sound dramatic, but this happened a few hours ago and I'm quite embarrassed and perplexed.
Hmm.
Just setting the stage here,
Mm.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, so this woman says she's at a baby shower. Several moms brought their kids. Kids were playing with these big pieces of confetti. I guess confetti was thrown at some point.
Mhm.
This little boy, who was probably about 5 years old, came up to came up to her, gave her a piece of confetti, and I was like, "Thanks," and opened my hand to take the confetti from him. And he was like, "No, in here." And he pulled down the front of my shirt
Oh,
and tried to put the confetti in the front of my shirt. I immediately pulled back and said no, but he kept going for it and trying to put his hand in my shirt. I was sitting down with a plate of food on my lap and he was standing in front of me, so I couldn't physically step back. I was so mortified and naturally have a freeze response.
yeah.
Luckily, my shirt was quite tight and I was wearing a sports bra, so it wasn't really exposed. But what the fuck? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't even really remember what I did. I think I was just like, "No, no, no touching there," while awkwardly laughing and looking around to see if somebody could help me. So, my question for you, Bo, what would you do? And what do you think of this woman? And whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. The
that
person who was trying to put confetti down her top was an adult?
is a 5-year-old boy.
5-year-old boy. Okay. So, oh, okay. I think I would have stood up with my plate of food and said, "I said stop." And I would say it loud and I would say it clear because he needs to understand that there are boundaries and that when somebody says no, they mean no. Right? Then I'm not going into like a sexual, thing here, but I'm just saying in general, like
You do not, as a 5-year-old, have consent to put confetti in my shirt.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, so if the parent is not around watching this happen, then fine. If the parent is around and watching this happen, then I would also be having a conversation with the parent that says that was not okay. That made me feel very uncomfortable. Especially because I had told your child that I to stop. So you might
Yes.
want to take that as an opportunity, you know what I mean, to talk to him about boundaries because he definitely crossed mine at that point, right? But I would have definitely gotten up and I would have been very stern and stood up and been tall and said, "No, I said stop." That's what I would
And
have
this
done.
poor 5-year-old boy walks away
I
crying because
Yeah,
he's
but
just trying to play
CeeLo,
a game.
CeeLo, listen. If trying to play a game, he's constantly at her top in her boobage
He's
area.
5. 5 years old.
Okay, but I'm not saying that I would say, "No," and then smack him and throw him out the window. I'm saying I would say, especially if this girl is
Like, if he's so mischievous, then his mom is probably hoping that you throw him out the window. I'm just saying.
no, but right. But I mean, if this 5-year-old boy is constantly at this woman's boobs and trying to throw confetti down her top, and she keeps saying, "Stop, no, don't do that. Stop, don't do that." And if he's not listening to that, then she needs to show assertion, like she needs to be assertive with it.
Yeah,
And I
she
think
needs
that
to be assertive.
she needs to shock that boy into realizing that what he's doing is not okay. I don't think she's not doing anything violent by standing up and just saying, "No, I
No.
said stop." She is
Yeah,
removing herself from the situation by standing up. And then she's
yeah,
also being very assertive to the boy to say, "I said stop." And he can go off and cry all he wants. But the reality is that he's going to learn at that moment that when somebody says no, perhaps he'll think twice, you know? I don't know,
yes.
just my
I
viewpoint.
think the tough part is
Mm.
the 5-year-old part of it, right? So, I agree with you that if he's, like, all up in her business, for her to hold on to your plate of food and simply stand up is enough to to get herself out of the sitch, right? Because he's 5, he's not gonna be able to reach the boobs when she's standing. And I agree with you to say, "No, I told you I didn't want you to do that." The only thing I would follow that up with is, "Why don't you go grab one of those empty cups and see how many more you can collect and put them in the cup and then come back and show
Oh my
me."
god, okay.
Right?
See,
Because at
yes,
that age,
yes.
giving them something else, right, is, like, the best way to get them moving on from whatever they're
Okay.
doing.
I
So
have
that's what
something
I would.
funny to point out about our conversation just now and our 2 different.
I have confetti?
No. Yeah,
Are you
see,
sure?
no, you don't. No, I find this very funny, bizarre, because you're coming at it from a very wise parenting angle, right? Which is,
Yeah.
you know, remove the situation that's happening that's negative and then guide them towards another thought process that stops that negative
Activity.
behavior. So like that was a very parenty response. I was coming from a trauma response, meaning that that I have been raped in the past. And
Yeah.
so when somebody was, if even if it was a 5-year-old boy trying to get down my top with a confetti, I was coming from that. No, I have to make sure that they understand that this is wrong, that no means no.
Yes.
And it's just
I
funny how
do
you and I,
feel I 100% think that you do need, like, especially if a kid isn't listening,
yeah,
that you do need to, be a little bit stern sometimes,
yeah,
absolutely, but, I just think that at that age, I'm trying to think, right, of when my kids were that age, but, like, and being stern isn't always the way to get them to learn something, right?
right,
So
right.
yes, I think standing up and removing yourself so that it's not happening, explaining, "No, I asked you not to do that.
Mm,
Why don't you instead go do
mhm,
something else?" Right? Go get a
mhm.
cup and collect them, or see how many red ones you can find. I don't know, fucking anything. It
Go do
doesn't
it to your
matter because
mom.
then they'll be like, "Oh, okay."
What
And they
go do it to your
often they
mom.
go do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
They go
but
do it.
it's funny how we all have our own perceptions and boundaries based on our own
Yeah.
experiences, and this is just a key thing where we all have different views, so there is no right answer, right? Because
There's no right
for
answer.
me, this would be a bigger boundary cross than it would be for you,
Yes, I've
right?
had people pulling at my shirt for many years. Yeah. I'm like, "Is this five-year-old still nursing? Like, is he confused? Like, what's happening here?" Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
Right?
Lord.
Yeah, good times. I
Okay.
think we gave out some really good advice
Yeah.
today.
Yes, we did. Sure we did. I think
No.
yeah, just no, I said stop. Go to your mother right now. CeeLo would be too
Ugh,
easy. Um,
right?
I think
Well,
people should write us in and ask us questions. That's what I think. I think our listeners should do that.
I think that is a fantastic idea,
Me
and if
too.
people do that, we'll be sure to do an episode where we're answering your questions, and you can either fess up and use your name, or you can
Or
use a
not.
fake name. We're totally
Yep.
fine with that.
That is fine.
Um,
Yeah.
Guaranteed, we will give you good advice. We will give you probably different advice depending on who it's coming from,
Yeah.
and we'll probably make fun of you a little bit, so take
Yeah.
that into account.
Yep. I love it.
Funny. Yeah.
Well, thanks,
It was a
CeeLo.
good
This
one.
was fun. All right.
Yeah.
Chat with you.
Talk Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for taking a seat at the table today. We love our dinner guests.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow The Dinner Agenda on the podcast platform you use so that you don't miss any new episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Dinner Agenda.
We look forward to hearing your comments, questions, and even ideas you may have on future episodes.
Thanks for taking this journey with us.